What's up guys, Phoenix here. This video is going to be a little bit something different because today it's going to be story time. Today I'm going to be telling you guys a story of a game that I just could not manage to lose. No matter how hard I tried to make it to where I lost this game, no matter how many times I tried to punt away the game with my own mistakes, I just for some reason could not seem to lose this game. Now let me set the scene for you before we jump right in. It's roughly 3:30 to 4 in the morning. I have been up for almost 24 hours, I'm very hazy-eyed, and I may or may not have been consuming some beverages of the alcoholic variety to keep myself going, because I've been slogging through ranked for about 6 or 7 hours at this point, trying to get as many videos against Monarchs, Cosmos, and BA with the Blue Eyes deck as I can potentially find. So then I come across this guy, and he's ended up playing Pendulums, and that's another deck I potentially want to get potential games against for a video. So I decided to keep filming it. Little did I know I was going to make pretty much an actual handful of mistakes and actually try to throw away this game literally as many times as I could possibly think of in a game, and transitioning between tryhard mode and absolutely not giving a fuck mode multiple times, and for some reason I was still able to come out on top of this game. I don't know if that's because of the inherent power of the Blue Eyes cards themselves, or if I just got incredibly lucky, but anyway, we're going to jump straight into it because I believe this scene has set itself quite handily. So this magical game goes as follows. I win rock, paper, scissors, and I'm the one that gets to start the game, and I look at my opening hand and I'm like, this is absolutely amazing, whoa! So I terraforming for the Light Mausoleum, and I normal summon my Ancient Whitestone, and then with my additional normal summon, I normal summon Maiden, and I get to use the field spells effect to trigger Maiden, sending a Blue Eyes from deck to grave, and also special summoning Blue Eyes out of my deck. And I'm looking at this Soul Charge in my hand, and I'm like, ooh, if this is a video game that I get to use in a video because it's a relevant matchup for what I wanted to make videos for, this is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to blow him out of the water, and it's going to be great. So, I synchro into my first level 9, forgetting that Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon prevents both players from summoning 2 or more monsters at the same time, where I should have most definitely just made Azure Eyes first, and then I would have been able to Soul Charge for 3. I would have been just able to Soul Charge for Ancient Whitestone and the 2 Blue Eyes in my grave, but I just luckily luck out and I'm able to click on the Blue Eyes first. I click on the Blue Eyes first, and it automatically defaults to that's the only card you're summoning off this Soul Charge. So, unfortunately, I have to end my turn with only 2 Blue Eye Spirit Dragons and no Maiden face up. So it's like, this isn't great, this isn't good at all, but I still get to use my Ancient Whitestone in the end phase, to special summon White Spirit Dragon or Dragon Spirit of White out of my deck, and I end my turn. I'm still at 5 cards, I'm like, alright, this is definitely something we can work with. If the Azure Eyes get to survive, which I'm almost positive they get to, I get to actually just, potentially position myself back into this game. Even though I made a very, very critical mistake with just not making Azure Eyes first, because I could have easily just Soul Charged, made Azure Spirit, and then I could have used Spirit as a trap on my opponent's turn into Moonlight Rose, and then I could have tagged the other Spirit into Azure Eyes to protect the Moonlight from dying. Like, this was so good for me. But he reveals that he's playing Pendulums, and I'm like, okay, this is a matchup that I wanted to film for a video at some point, so I'm going to keep going with it. Normally by now, if it's not a matchup that I wanted to film for a video, or it's not something that's relevant, I just delete the recording and I finish out the game on my own time. I just go into tryhard mode so I don't lose. So he goes Sky Iris, pops an Odd Eyes out of his Pendulum Scale, and searches Odd Eyes Fusion, and then he activates Odd Eyes Fusion, and since I control 2 or more monsters, he's able to use cards from his extra deck, and so he sends an Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon and an Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon from his extra deck to grave to summon Vortex Dragon. Now Vortex Dragon, when it's bounce, can only bounce, or when it's summoned, can only bounce attack position monsters that I control, so he can't hit the Azure Eyes, but both of the Azure Eyes trigger. I should have just tributed my spirits and gone into Azure Eyes before he even played the Odd Eyes Fusion, because I could have responded to him adding the Odd Eyes Fusion to his hand in the open game state. But I just didn't. There's mistake number 2, if we're counting. So both of my Azure Eyes trigger, and then he gets to negate it with the Vortex Dragon. I'm like, shit, I'm just losing cards for absolutely no reason. So then he follows up his play with Pendulum Call, discarding a Wisdom Eye Magician. I check his grave just because I want to see what he's actually been using, and he sets a Dragon Pit and an Odd Eyes in his scale after he has just searched for Dragon Pit and Janky Magician. And Janky Magician gets to negate the effect of light monsters. So now at this point is where my opponent makes the mistake, and I'm just like, alright, this is okay. Well, it's arguably a mistake. He could have easily just left the Vortex Dragon and the Janky up, and Janky would have negated my Silver Dragon during the standby phase, and I wouldn't have, or my Azure Eyes during the standby phase, Silver Dragon. What the hell am I saying? It is Silver Dragon, isn't it? It's Azuri's Silver Dragon, if I'm not tripping. But anyway, so he overlays the Vortex Dragon and the Janky Magician into Absolute Dragon, attacks my Spirit Dragon, uses his Absolute Dragon's ability, and he gets to detach Vortex Dragon and Special Vortex Dragon back. And then he tries to attack Vortex Dragon over my Spirit Dragon. I use its effect, tributing it, special summoning the Blue Eyes out of my hand. And I'm like, alright, we're going to try hard this. Even though I may be really hazy-eyed and I may be in a potential drunken stupor, not admitting to anything, he puts another Pendulum in his extra deck off of the Odd Eyes, and then searches for Bunbuku. He's already shuffled one Odd Eyes back into his deck. And so, Azure Eyes triggers in the standby phase. He gets to negate it with the Vortex Dragon, but Azure Eyes' blanket protection protects itself. And I drew a Maiden. That's absolutely perfect. That's like the greatest card in the game that I could have drawn, because it's going to be very, very live at this point in time. Because while I do not have any Blue Eyes left in the deck, I'm able to use Ancient Whitestone from Grave, and I get to add Blue Eyes back to my hand, and then that makes the field spell live on Maiden. So it's like, it's really cool. So like, you can just see where I go back and forth between try-hard mode and not, and I make quite a handful of mistakes even continuing on from here, but I just somehow do not lose this game. So I trigger the field spell, targeting Maiden, activate Maiden's effect, and I just special the Blue Eyes out of my hand because it's going to get discarded anyway, and then I just look through my extra deck and see what I could potentially have as a play option. He has Absolute Dragon, which I've got to deal with, and then he also has Vortex Dragon, which has already used its negation this turn. So, as it stands, I have a normal summon left from Light Mausoleum, and I'm just considering how I'm going to deal with this Absolute Dragon, because I know it can trigger again, all this sort of nonsense. So I'm going into try-hard mode, trying not to make a mistake at this point. I'm looking at Giant Grinder. I can destroy his Absolute Dragon to make him take a couple thousand, 2,800 specifically, and just get some quick damage in there. I don't know if he plays multiple Vortex Dragons, stuff like that. Just trying to salvage every ounce of this game that I could actually salvage. So, I summon Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, and then I overlay into Full Armor Photon Dragon in defense mode because Vortex can only bounce attack position monsters. So, if he does run multiple Vortex Dragons and he summons one off of Absolute going to Grave, then he doesn't get to bounce my two biggest monsters. He can only bounce Maiden. So, try-hard mode engaged. I'm playing around cards, trying to be a Sav, and then I overlay onto my Full Armor Proton Dragon with Dark Matter. And so I get to send dragons from my deck to grave. So I send Whitestone, Corseska, and a white Spirit Dragon to my grave so that I can potentially just do things. And I'm like, this is great. I get to attack twice with Dark Matter. I get to do all this nonsense. And here is where the next mistake comes in. I look at his banished cards. I turn my Azure Eyes into attack mode. And since I detached a material off the Full Armor Photon Dragon, why do I keep saying protons? I may or may not be under the influence right now. Who's to say? But, since I detached a material off Full Armor Photon Dragon, I don't remember to detach off Dark Matter because in my head I've already detached off of an Xyz material off of a Galaxy Eyes monster. And I just assumed it was Dark Matter. And so when I attack his Vortex and it doesn't let me attack again, I'm like, no, shit. So at this point, I just take the bullet like a man and suicide my Azure Eyes into his Vortex Dragon, when I could have easily just attacked both of them with Dark Matter. And then in the end phase, my Ancient Whitestone triggers get a White Spirit Dragon out of the deck, and I get to banish his field spell because I cannot target his Dragon Pit Magician. So from here, it's just going, and in my opinion, probably gone. So he summons Bunbuku, and he plays the third Odd Eyes that he has in his hand. He's already gone through two and shuffled them both back. He plays an Odd Eyes in his scale, he searches Kirin off of the Bunbuku, and then he Pendulum summons it. And so this Kirin is a potential problem to my board. As it stands, this Kirin can easily just bounce 2 cards, and that could be a potential issue. And as it stands, my field spell isn't live, nothing's actually going to be working for me. So he uses Kirin to bounce his Bunbuku, and then bounce my Dark Matter. And so at this point I'm like, alright, he can attack Maiden or not. I just don't see myself actually being able to win this game because I've literally already gone through both of my Spirit Dragons and both of my Azures. All 4 of them are in the grave. There's absolutely like zero reason for me to actually potentially win this game. I've already misplayed literally like 5 times. I've already made like 5 mistakes in the entirety of this game, and I'm just crying. I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to, like, live this down if I post it in any way, shape, or form. But he odd-eyes in the end phase for Noble Dragon Magician. I draw a Silver's Cry, and I'm like, oh my god, Silver's Cry. So I banish the Ancient Whitestone in my grave, strap on try-hard mode, and we try to go. I banish the Whitestone in my grave to try and add Blue Eyes back to my hand, and if this goes back to my hand, I'm able to trigger the field spell again on Maiden. All this different stuff is going to be actually live. And so he uses Kieran at this point and targets my White Spirit Dragon, and he bounces both of them to hand, and I'm like, dude, that's fine. You can have it. I look at his life, and he's at 65, and I'm just like, oh my god, can I just end him? Can I please? So I use the field spell, target Maiden again, targeting Maiden for the third time in this game, and I decide to special summon a Blue Eyes out of my grave. I ditch the one out of my hand. I attack with the Maiden because the Maiden gets the boost, and then that's the key. Like, the key that keeps this game from being, like, losable is the fact that I let the Blue Eyes hit grave so the Maiden gets its attack boost. And then in the battle phase, I just go Silver's Cry, get the Blue Eyes back, and attack for game. There was absolutely no reason why I should have won that game in any capacity. I made at least like 5 mistakes that I can physically point out without actually thinking about it. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason I should have won this game, and I just wanted to share this with you guys because it's really insane. Like, the fact that I was playing against an, in theory, like, superior deck in the form of it has outstayed almost anything I can put out because of Kieran and all this nonsense, but, like, just because, like, I literally just started suiciding cards for no reason, but I still ended up getting the game. So let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments down below. As always, like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to all my typical stuff. If you want to check that out, feel free to do so. If you want to support me, clicking links, Jesus Christ, clicking ads on my videos and disabling ad block is more than sufficient. Can't express how much it helps me out, nor how much it would be appreciated, or how much it would help motivate me to continue making content. But other than that, again, let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments down below, and this sort of, like, change of video style of just kind of being jokey, because, like, it's literally, like, I didn't have to show this, and I never decided to make a Pendulum deck duel video. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, as always, and as always, guys, take care.